Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's CAS webinar on fun and free distance learning resources for Connecticut principals and teachers. I'm Bill Silva, and I'm the Associate Executive Director at the Connecticut Association of Schools. Today's webinar is supported by CAS's corporate partners, Jostens, Horace Mann, Liberty Bank, the Connecticut Army National Guard, and Pullman and Cumley. And we thank them for helping to bring this high quality professional development to all principals and educators in Connecticut. Today's webinar will be recorded and posted on the CAS website, so please share it with your colleagues and your faculty and staff. During the webinar, we will be monitoring the chat and the Q&A, and our presenters will try to answer as many questions as possible during the session. So we're excited to have presenters this morning from CEN, the Connecticut Education Network, and the Internet2 Community Anchor Program to highlight some of the unique and exciting virtual learning resources available to all Connecticut schools. To get started, it's my pleasure to introduce CEN Director Ryan Kachundi. Ryan oversees the directional and operational activities of CEN, ensures alignment with member needs, advocates and promotes CEN as a leader among peer provider networks in the nation, and enables the evolution of the network as the most advanced internet and network service provider in Connecticut. Ryan has 20 years of experience in supporting large-scale networks, physical infrastructure projects, data center operations, campus technology support services, and business operations. He represents CEN as chair of the board of directors for NERIN, an Internet2 connector principal, and he serves as advisor to the Northern Crossroads, secretary on the board of directors and chair of the Quilt CEO Roundtable, and most recently, Ryan served as an advisor to Governor Lamont's Everyone Learns initiative. Welcome, Ryan, and we're looking forward to the presentation from you and your colleagues this morning.
Thanks, Bill. I think I actually have to trim that down a little bit. It actually feels awkward to hear it. And thanks everybody for coming. Today we're going to learn a little bit about CEN, very small for folks that don't know who we are, what we do, and mostly about the Internet2 Community Anchor Program. Stephanie, next slide if you could, please. So a little bit about CEN for the first, for folks that may be hearing about us for the first time, but we are the internet service provider for all of the districts in Connecticut. We have connectivity to everybody. And we, even though it is a paid service, we really see it as a partnership and a membership where we believe in collaboration and innovation for greater outcomes. You know, CEN's been doing this for 20 years. It's our core constituents include libraries, K-12 districts and schools, as well as colleges and universities. And then sometime in 2009, 2010, we actually expanded out into state and local government and open access and really the community that we support today that's represented on the nice state slide over there. And like I said before, we see it as a partnership and a collaboration, and we always try and find ways to say yes to whatever the members' needs are, and just provide things at a higher level than you're going to get out of a commercial provider, and quite frankly, just see what we can tuck into the service that's of more value without having to nickel and dime anybody. And we did highlight one little item on there that especially we want to get in front of the non-technical crowd, is that little things like DDoS at no additional charge are kind of at a cornerstone of what we believe of just provide clean internet. Attack free, so that way schools can operate without having to get shut down because of a denial of service attack. And we can block it upstream and really help people out and make sure that we're not making the papers for all the wrong reasons. Little things like that tend to make a lot of difference, and we love that kind of partnership with our schools and being able to do that at scale across the network. And if there's ever anything that we can provide, we love hearing from the tech directors about, hey, could you do this? We will try and find ways to weave it in. Next slide, Stephanie. One other thing quick on CEN is really kind of our shameless plug for the member conference. It is in May this year, as it is every year. We attract a lot of the ed tech and technical directors and staff to these in the K-12, as well as everybody else from our community. This year it's virtual, live and pre-recorded. You know, we always have meeting and breakout rooms available, private chats, things like that. And it's really to view and meet the EdTech vendors as well as colleagues and learn from each other about how to do things better, maybe more efficiently or differently, and really be a collaborative space for our community to learn from each other, get greater outcomes, and really just have fun for the day. And the last thing on there that it's really, we always offer this up for the non-technical community or folks that may need a little bit of help, but we will gladly organize executive briefings for this crowd at any time if there are topics that you feel you need help with or struggle with, or you just need a secret decoder ring of what's going on in your IT community and want to learn a little bit more about what is that thing, and can you tell me more in a non-technical manner or related in a different way. We're always happy to help and happy to host meetings, whether it's part of the conference or a one-off session. We're there for our members always, and we take direction from you. Next slide, Steph. And rolling into the next one, and really what we're here for is to describe the CEN Internet2 partnership. So CEN is a physical network. We connect a lot of the community anchor institutions, which is a fancy term for libraries, schools, colleges, universities, museums, state and local offices, tribal, and really take care of that community as a whole. And Stephanie, if you go to the next slide, please. CEN is a physical network. It's also a human network, but we're also actually connected by Internet2, which is kind of a larger version of CEN national that works on the national scale. So a lot of states have CEN-like entities. We have very common and shared values. And Internet2 is kind of like a bigger version that helps keep us connected at a national level. Also organizes events similar to what we have today. And helps run programs where we can really connect a lot of the human networks that are all connected to these data networks underneath, because we are all people, whether we're educators or learners or even lifelong learners. It's not so much about the nuts and bolts of the technology. It really is about the human level and connecting people in the end anyway. And with that, I think I'm going to hand it over to Stephanie, who is the director of the Community Anchor Program for Internet2.
Great. Thanks so much, Ryan. So my name is Stephanie Stenberg. Hello. I am the director of Internet2's Community Anchor Program. And like Ryan said, we work with state and regional research and education networks like CEN to really help community anchor institutions. And obviously here today to talk to you about some resources we love for K-12 schools. So some of what we do is we just develop and promote K-12 educational opportunities. We also work with CEN and others to just help K-12 schools. And we also have special programs. For example, we just had a distance learning scholarship program we put forth, and we actually had 12 applicants from Connecticut schools. So thinking of other ways to promote research and engagement and learning during the pandemic as well. So just one more map. The Community Anchor Program has participating states, 46 of them if you include DC. And we connect about half of the schools in the United States. You guys are so lucky in Connecticut to be connected 100% to CEN. It really provides such a fast network. And like CEN, the Community Anchor Program is about connecting people and organizations too. So we work to connect various community anchor institutions, libraries with K-12 schools, or connect you with colleges. And I'll talk about an opportunity like that soon. So what I'm here to talk to you today about is some K-12 curriculum resources we think are just really fun and really, really important, especially because of the pandemic. Now people are looking for great opportunities for their students during these times. So everything I'm talking about today, unless I say otherwise, is free. Also, I'm covering various grade levels, various topics from arts and culture, all the way to engineering concepts and remote instrumentation. And so my goal is that you leave today with something you can bring back to the counselors at your school, the educators at your school, and just have a better understanding of some of the fun new remote learning opportunities that are available for free for your classrooms. And you're going to get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, and I've really designed it so that you can click on all of the links. You can follow, you can look at the speaker notes, and there's more information there for you. So really, I want it to be a tool for you to use as soon as you view this. So I'm talking about 9 different of my favorite K-12 resources today. And the first is the Smithsonian American Art Museum. So the Smithsonian American Art Museum has some great arts and culture resources for your classrooms. It's highly interactive. There are 10 topics that they focus on that align with national curriculum standards that you can use for 3rd to 12th grade. Now, what's neat about this is you actually sign up via a website called the Center for Interactive Learning and Collaboration. And I will tell you more about the CILC later because it's a great resource in and of itself. But here are some of the programs you can get and connect your students with an expert at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. So a free introduction to Latino art and culture. Really, thinking about how visual images represent different times and styles and mediums. Talking about young America and what it was like during that pivotal time in American history. And also a free program about African American artists. So that's just 4 of the 10 you can do. There's also an additional professional development session that you can attend to really figure out how to maximize your use of these free resources at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. So now moving on to some science and biology resources that you may be interested in. This is one of my favorites, I have to say. This is Ask a Biologist. And so it is visited on average 45,000 times every day, and they've answered over 40,000 biology questions for students. It's not just a Q&A with a biologist. It's also, they have Q&A, they have videos, they have simulations, activities, games, virtual tours, and podcasts. So it really runs the gamut. You can absolutely go in and search for a topic your school is covering. You can also, with your class directly submit those questions to scientists there, and they turn it around within 72 hours. So it's a fun way to get your class involved, get them in touch with a scientist, and ask something like, does brain size relate to intelligence? And get a really fun interaction with a scientist as a result. So I just took a little screenshot of me clicking around on this beetle dissection tool they have. So these are just some of the ways you can explore on their site. So if you follow my little mouse, you can view the beetle from all these different sides, check it out, compare what the male female looks like to the female beetle, right? You can also go up and click that X-ray button. What does an X-ray of a beetle look like? Look at the illustration. Then going over to the scalpel, which is kind of fun. You can actually do a virtual dissection and look in there. And then if you go up to inspect mode, you can actually click on different parts and learn about those sections of the beetle, which is just really fun and obviously a great thing to let your kids kind of explore while some students may be home. Obviously can also do this in your other programs. So this is just a great opportunity to talk about also learning about other cultures with something called Mystery Skype. I don't know if anyone's heard of Mystery Skype before, but what it is a way just to connect your students with classrooms all over the world. And I have this profile here of Wendy Blankley. Wendy is a 3rd grade teacher who we actually profiled. And I have a link at the end of this presentation to some of our educator profiles where we've profiled how different teachers are using the network from the Research and Education Network to make these connections for their students. Wendy went on the Facebook Mystery Skype group and said, hey, I'm looking to connect with a teacher from across the world. And a teacher in a classroom in Wales said, sure, that sounds great. Let's get together and have a mystery Skype session. And so what that is the teachers know where their classrooms are located, but they don't tell the kids. And the kids connect with the classroom and they end up asking each other questions to try to figure out where the other one's from. So this is just a fun, creative way to use video conferencing. So you'll see in this picture, the kids are asking questions to the students saying, okay, so are you located north or south of the equator? You know, what continent are you in? What's the weather like there? And you can see they're actually crossing out different areas of the map as they try to figure out where the other classroom is from. Now, Wendy has done this with multiple classrooms. She had her third graders connecting to students in Ghana and sharing different dances they did as kind of a cultural exchange. So it's just a fun way to connect with other teachers. And there's no real, you know, it's all about just jumping on the Facebook group and finding willing teachers that will connect and create a great experience. So looking at some of the scientists as well, you can also Skype a scientist in addition to asking a biologist, right? So Skype a scientist has a database with thousands of scientists. And students, you can connect your students with the scientists one-on-one. And Skype a Scientist also produces 60+ live stream events annually. So here's some sample topics of the live stream. And what I love about this is that you let your students connect with a scientist who might look like them, right? All you do is you complete a form to request the type of scientist you'd like to connect to your classroom. And they respond in about a week. And so some of the samples are, you know, Einstein and black holes, being black in marine science, and harnessing proteins and sunlight to make fuels. So it really runs the gamut. I mean, I just had to actually copy the checklist for all the different types of scientists they let you select, because as you can see, you really have so many opportunities for different areas of science and connecting your kids. So one more Smithsonian plug, I'm sorry, but obviously Smithsonian does it so well. For astronomy and space, there is actually something called STEM in 30. It's an Emmy-nominated program for middle school students that the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum produces. And so they release new episodes every month. And then about a week later, there's a chat with the speakers that you and your students can tune in live to and ask questions. So some of the upcoming ones that I thought were really cool and wanted to share with you were What It Takes to Explore Mars. So students can tune in. It's on February 4th. So it's something, if you're interested in, you can still sign your students up for. And also, I love it when they do career exploration as well. So careers in aerospace. And again, being able to talk to those scientists and get your kids excited about a STEM career is just such a fun way to do it. And it's free. Obviously, it's from the Smithsonian, so you know it's vetted and trustworthy content as well. Now, I have to put in a plug for something that my Internet2 Community Anchor Program works on as well. Every year we produce something called the Presidential Primary Sources Project. This is mainly for history or civics classes, grades K through 12 though. And so what it is, it's a series of free standards-based interactive webinars. And it's the result of, we've partnered with the National Park Service and presidential museums and libraries everywhere, as well as the National Archives. So you'll see that this year it runs January through March of 2021. So there's time to register. You get a 45-minute session, 50-minute session, and this is the schedule for that year. So you'll see that students from all over the US are tuning in all the time to check out the Presidential Primary Sources Project. What we do is connect you directly with a presidential historian at one of the libraries or park ranger, and they will talk to your students and answer questions about that president's life. So, and the next clip slide is actually a clip from Jeff Urban at the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Museum, or I'm sorry, the Franklin Delano Roosevelt, it's confusing my Roosevelts, Presidential Museum. And he is talking up to the kids about how Franklin Delano Roosevelt designed his own wheelchair. So I'd like to share a clip.
Now, this was important for FDR to design this wheelchair because back in the day, this is what wheelchairs looked like. They were big, giant, enormous things. You know, how are you going to get around any place in that? Look at that back wheel. It looks like something off a tractor or something, doesn't it? So he designed this kind of sportier model of a wheelchair so that he could get around and be a little bit more independent. Now, the other thing you might notice about this is that if you look over here, what do you think this thing is over here? What do you think that circular thing is? Right, it's an ashtray. Boys and girls, Franklin Roosevelt was a big time smoker, and today he's dead.
So that's just one example. What I love about Jeff's presentations is that some people go really fancy with videos, and Jeff does it with various primary source objects and a pointer, and it's still just super incredible and just a fun thing to do with your class, and they get to learn a lot as well. Moving on to kind of a technical, more engineering type focus, there is something called cyber.org. Now, cyber.org is funded by the National Department of Defense, and it really just focuses on empowering educators to help prepare the next generation of the cyber workforce of tomorrow. So cybersecurity, just engineering topics, logic. It's actually not just to only teach computer science, which I love. It's free curriculum. Students can enroll. It aligns with state standards for education in 25 states and counting. I will say I did contact them directly to check about Connecticut, and they said, no, but we'd love to work on that ASAP. And so they are actually reviewing those standards right now. But I don't think that should stop you from accessing these amazing resources. They're actually putting together all their entire slate of programming for the winter and the spring right now. So it will be posted probably within the week if it hasn't been posted in the past couple days. One thing that, you know, if you wanted to just jump on it and sign up for a webinar, there's a monthly series for counselors and educators. And so this December 10th webinar, for example, is about inspiring students to pursue cyber. And there was a Louisiana study, which is where cyber.org is based, and they found that high schools that had teachers who enrolled in cyber.org on average sent 4 times more students into cyber-related college or university degree programs, which I just think is a testament to the amazing work that they do. And so you can go on to their website. I have links in the presentation for you, and really just search. And so here's some of the things I found that just kind of show the breadth of what they cover. You can go straight to system architecture and design. It's very technical, geared towards geared towards high schoolers. It's a 30-hour unit about cybersecurity. There's also a unit focused on robotics in the classroom. So using different Lego robotics, things to learn coding, which is really fun. And even for the humanities, like let's say 4th grade, I have a son in 4th grade, so I like that example. Expository writing and just computational thinking. So how to think logically, but in a fun way to do for the humanities. Following cyber.org, I promised I would talk to you about this as well. This is called the Center for Interactive Learning and Collaboration. So this is where I have my caveat. Some programming on the Center for Interactive Learning and Collaboration is paid and some is free. So if you pay for programs, it is like a one-on-one connection with an expert. You can choose from over 1,900 different programs. And obviously it runs the gamut with subject areas. So it can cost up to $300. However, what's great is the CILC has partnered with Cisco to create this community of learning. And again, you'll be able to link to this once you get a copy of the presentation. They have free courses that they are allowing students and teachers to sign up for, and it's just very fun opportunities. We also, ran a free distance learning scholarship program that, if it goes well, we'll repeat it again, and I'm sure you'll hear about it, where you can actually get a paid course for free. So there's a couple free ways to access it. Here are some of the free upcoming programs that the CILC has. So it's kind of fun, something geared toward younger kids. Anything can be a puppet. And so learning how to, operate that and do that. Something focused on a Pioneer Christmas with Charles Ingalls. So learning about Christmas in pioneer times is pretty fun for all ages. And then one of my favorite resources, and we actually work with the 6th Floor Museum at Dealey Plaza at the Presidential Primary Sources Project, because it was the location where John F. Kennedy was shot. And so they have great programs all around though, and they help you become a detective and learn about forensic science techniques. And it's geared towards all ages. So these are just some of the free upcoming programs that the CILC has that you can sign your kids up for, and it is just a blast, let me tell you. One thing I also wanted to point out, just for all the principals out there, is that CILC has some really great customized professional development opportunities. So these do have a fee, but it is $200 for 1 hour of professional development training and $500 for 3 hours. I think it's 200 for 2, or 400 for 2, excuse me. But what's great is they customize the program for you, and there's no limit on the group of people who can attend. So if there's 100 people attending, it's still going to be $500 for 3 hours. So I feel like it's a very cost-effective way to do some professional development around video conferencing and just finding opportunities for that. So I did want to share that. Finally, we also have this amazing research or remote instrumentation. So students can connect with North Dakota State University scientists at the Electron Microscopy Center. I will die before I get that right, I think. But the scientists there remotely operate a scanning electron microscope that you can introduce your kids to. And what's great is you download these really easy software that's free, and you can actually operate the microscope. And you can look at specimens like teeth or like butterfly wings. That's the picture on the right, is the scale of a butterfly wing. First, magnified just a little bit, and then obviously like really looking deep into the structure of a butterfly wing. I have the link here. It's a free service. You really just reach out to them and they set up a session for you. And so I also have a little brief video where they're showing you the electron microscope they use and just giving an example of how they zoom in on a mosquito to show the magnification.
This instrument, like all our microscopes, was purchased with a National Science Foundation grant. We got this one in 2006, and since that time, we put about 37,000 images on it. One of the really nice things about it is that it's all digital. We look at an image on a screen after the detector forms the image, and this makes it so that we can operate this instrument remotely, for instance, in classrooms. We demonstrate it all the time in K-12 classrooms across North Dakota and Minnesota, and even out to the East Coast. Here we're looking at an image of a mosquito. We're looking at the mosquito here is magnified nominally 50 times. And this line is 500 microns. We can change that magnification. Now we've magnified the mosquito 1,500 times, and we're looking at the individual ommatidia of one eye. The line now is only 10 microns long.
So that's just another really fun resource that I think people can get on board with. And it's a really fun way to involve your classroom, especially when you're distance learning and don't have access to your in-class instrumentation. I always like to put in a little plug for the Community Anchor Program. You can always follow us for more information, especially the Presidential Primary Sources Project. And I'm sorry, I went through this really quickly because I was so excited about it apparently. But I have some other relevant links, and so I'll just talk you through that. Our homepage links to, the Community Anchor Program homepage links to K-12 resources. So I've also included that kind of delving down link as well. And there you'll find the community or the curriculum resources as well. I've included a link to those educator profiles. So like you met the 3rd grade teacher, Wendy Blankley. This is just, it just features a couple more different educators, both librarians and teachers and IT directors for different things. Like one IT director started his own esports program, and now it's bigger than the football team at his school. So you can learn his story. Or a teacher who connected her classroom with a conductor, in a different part, deep into New York City, where her rural classroom couldn't reach, and got feedback from a really high-end conductor on her students' musical skills. And also I've included a link to a remote instrumentation blog post we did that does feature the North Dakota State University Scanning Electron Microscope as well. And I would love to hear anyone's questions. I know I went through that really fast. I'm so sorry, but hopefully you have some questions that we can discuss, or please share your own resources that you love that maybe we should put on our page. We have many more resources on our page for you to explore.
So I'm going to invite any of our listeners. I want to thank Stephanie, of course, for a great presentation and some incredible resources, but you have an opportunity with Ryan and Stephanie and Rachel here to answer any questions. If you want to type them in the Q&A or the chat, we would really love to respond to as much as you can, ask these experts.
It looks like we have a couple questions. Would a school initiate contact through the link? Is this something they can do on their own? So I'm not sure which one it's for, but I have provided links to everything that you need to contact each of these resources. So for example, with North Dakota State University, they have a website you can visit and check it out. I actually took the video I showed you was a clip from a 9-minute clip introducing you to their their microscopy center. I said it right. And then you can reach out. There's a phone number. I've spoken to them there. They are so open to working with classrooms. It's really great. Same with the CILC. They are really great working with you. There's a woman, Tammy, who works on their professional development. And when I was reaching out to her to find some different examples of professional development work they did, she just said they're absolutely open to working with anyone. And it will really make it happen. Tal Sands says that he likes using Newsela with my special education elementary age students. I've not heard of Newsela. Can you describe it in the chat if you can, Tal? Oh, some great news articles. Okay, we'll check that out. You may see it on another presentation I have.
I think the other virtue of that resource is you can change the grade level or Lexile level of the article. So a more complicated article could be simplified for a lower grade level or for students with reading difficulties.
Great. And I have to say, I specifically chose all these resources to share with you because they are so user friendly. A lot of times you get on a site and it's very difficult to navigate. You feel like you need to get someone on the phone just to figure out what's going on with them. And I will say, these are really user friendly and they shouldn't cause any issues. They are really fun to explore. And I would love to hear, if you find something really delightful, you can always reach out to me and let me know, because I might, feature it in another presentation or, try to get the word out about another great resource.
So we are going to share what Stephanie presented today with you when we make the recording of the webinar available. So everything that Stephanie presented you will have access to or information about. So that will come to you.
And even in the speaker notes, I've added extra links for different ways to sign up or different things I think would be great to check out in relation to each specific resource. So it really should be a working document that I hope you can honestly look at and find something that would fit your classrooms the next day.
I have a question for Ryan. Did you want to explain how we're looking for a Connecticut representative to work with CAP?
Sure. So part of the the community aspect of this stuff is to have community representation in the CAP program. CEN has been a long-time CAP subscriber. We have participated in the program for a very long time, and we're looking for some new representatives from Connecticut. I think the agreement looks for 2, where Rachel is our inside liaison. I mean, we can answer any questions at CEN and pull Stephanie in, who's always available. But you know, a lot of these things are sometimes best heard from colleagues that already operate in this space. So we would love participation. I see Karen Kaplan just basically raised her hand. So Karen, you may be it, which is great. So that way, you know, the content, the things that are either consumed as part of CAP or potentially even generated. If something cool is going on in Connecticut and we want to share it nationally or globally, there's also opportunities to do that too, right? It's not just net consumption. It could be, you know, have some sort of production value about something cool that's going on in a Connecticut school. And to really be in touch with the community, you know, attend virtual meetings, occasional in person when this, you know, COVID stuff hopefully is all passed and, you know, we can actually interact, you know, in person again. And it's really fun. I mean, it's having to get to know a lot of the CAP folks and the representatives from, you know, other CEN-like networks in other states. Really, it's a great group and very collaborative and love sharing ideas about, you know, what's cool going on in your state and, you know, how can we learn from each other and do things a little cooler, different, better. Yeah, it's great. And Karen, we'll follow up on that one. Thank you for raising your virtual hand.
Definitely. And some of the ways we would love to work with Connecticut Educators is we'd love to feature someone on our educator profiles from Connecticut. I don't think we currently have someone from there. And so even if you use one of these resources and want to talk about your experience and maybe even have a picture like Wendy Blankley did of her students using the resource, we actually do a nice write-up and feature it across all platforms as a way to inspire other teachers to make the most of these great online resources for teaching. So we'd love to do that. Love to have your involvement as a CAP representative from CEN. I have to say, you guys are so lucky to have such an involved research and education network like CEN. It's such a pleasure to work with them at every turn. So it's a really great place to be connected to.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Stephanie.
for the shameless plug on that one. But I mean, we're here for our members and you know, we take direction from folks that we're trying to connect in the end. So it's really, really, I mean, in our minds, it's a partnership in a community effort for everything we do. Even though we tend to be techies and, you know, wear propeller heads and all that kind of stuff. But it's fun connecting, you know, not Richard, sorry. But it's fun connecting people and you know, lifelong learners.
Well, I'm going to thank you. I'm going to give an opportunity, anyone else, if they want to ask a question or any of our panelists to put in a last word. Since we have some time. All right, well, I want to thank Ryan, Stephanie, and Rachel for wonderful presentation, for sharing these exciting resources that are available to all Connecticut schools and students. Some terrific opportunities for exploration and collaboration that you've talked about. And I know we've learned a lot and there's so much more to learn and so much that principals and teachers can bring to their students. So terrific presentation. And I hope everyone listening will contact Ryan, Stephanie, and Rachel for more information and with any questions that you have. We have recorded the presentation. We will be sharing that. With the recording, the slideshow as well, and that list of resources. So you'll have that to benefit from, and you know, please share that with colleagues and with your faculty and staff so that everyone can have access to these. I want to let you know about a couple of upcoming CAS webinars. And here we go. Next week, Tom Mooney and Natalia Sierra Milan from Shipman and Goodwin will be presenting on free speech in our schools. What are the rules for teachers, principals, and others? In January, Dr. Joanne Freiberg and Pat Chacon will do a presentation on conducting circles, restorative justice circles virtually, restorative work in uncertain times. And then in February, a roundtable discussion on safe and positive school climate policy implementation. So I hope you will join us for those. Always visit the CAS website to get more information and to register. I want to thank once again CAS's corporate partners, Jostens, Horace Mann, Liberty Bank, the Connecticut Army National Guard, and Pullman and Cumley for their continuing support. As I said, this webinar was recorded today. We will send out a link so that you can share that. Again, Ryan, Stephanie, and Rachel, thank you so much. Terrific presentation. Thank you to everybody for joining us today. If we don't see you later this month, have a wonderful holiday season. But for today, signing off, thank you for joining us. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.